We tend to focus only on what's wrong, and our society does too. You're too old, you're too fat, you're not perfect, your hair is the wrong color, and it's often voices that someone else has told you. It's not the truth.
Did you push record?
Thank you so much for tuning into our second act with Paige and Silka. Today's our expert segment day, and I'm so happy to welcome Sandy Weiner back to our program. Sandy is best known as the founder of Last First Date and in her capacity as the dating coach for women after 40. And I'm happy to share with our audience today that Sandy has branched out into a new project, the Woman of Value Club. Sandy, welcome back to Second Act TV.
Thank you so much, Saka. Thanks for having me.
I love the title, Woman of Value. Tell us how briefly give us some background. How did you conceive this, and what is Woman of Value?
So the Woman of Value came about when I was still a dating coach, and I found that the work I was doing with women really started within, as it always has to, and that was the common thread. And it was the work that I loved doing most, to help women value themselves first and to speak up and set boundaries and to really stop being people pleasers. I think we might have done a segment on that a while back. And I found that I started to want to branch out even more, not just work with dating and relationships, but to help women at work, to help women in their whole lives. So if women are letting fear get in the way of stepping on a stage, writing that book, doing something bigger with their lives, then I want to be that coach to help them do whatever they need to do. And so I'm working in corporations to help women value themselves more, to be seen, to be heard, to be respected. And that's how the Woman of Value was born. It was sort of bubbling inside me for a long time. I kept calling everything the Woman of Value. So the Woman of Value Club is actually part of my dating work. And it's a place where women can learn to date as a woman of value. So that's the Woman of Value. It's a lot of things. It's private coaching, group coaching, lunch and learns, workshops, keynote speeches, all that stuff.
Well, and it totally applies to our audience. But, one of the biggest topics that, of course, we cover is recreating your life after 50. That the best is still ahead, that it's never too late. And a lot of people don't believe that, or they don't know how to reach that. And partially it's because, while we focus on maybe this new relationship, this new man, or, what we really want, the job we really want, we don't focus on what we are still bringing to the table.
Yeah, and often we're hiding. We're
Yeah.
often hiding our potential. We're the supporting role for everybody but ourselves. I remember one of the pivotal moments in my life was when my ex-husband and I had just finished filming a television show for Nickelodeon. And he said to me, "Wow, your dream came true. You're on national television." And I stopped and said, "It was really fun. It was a great experience, but it wasn't my dream. It was yours." And at that point, I didn't know what my dream was yet, but I knew it wasn't that. I wasn't a comedian. I wasn't a performer. I wasn't dreaming of having a TV show for kids.
Yeah.
So that kind of started the wheels turning for me. And yeah, I left my marriage. I was close to 50. And I've reinvented so many times. I can't, I was joking with you before that this is second act and I'm on probably my 10th or more, because I believe it's never too late. And we have to get out of our own way, really.
Yeah. Well, it's interesting. I just yesterday even there was a comment on one of our videos from a woman, and she said, I'm so disappointed with all the resources. I'm trying to find something, for something of substance to recreate. I believe that there's so much more ahead, but all I get is wrinkle creams and how to wear your hair better or this and that. So I said, well, I hope you won't be disappointed with our programming, and so I'm happy to have you on today to really address that. You wrote this article that both I want to focus on this segment as well as the other one is why being nice can work against you. That we need to take a stand for our needs, which I believe follows the story you just told, that we follow somebody else's dreams, not ours.
Yeah.
So how do we,
Yeah.
what do we do to not do that?
We have to really get present with ourselves. I mean, it's we're in such a busy world with answering to everything, answering to texts, answering to emails, and so we need to narrow down what really resonates for us. And I'm sure that most of our listeners here have watched The Art of Tidying Up on Netflix with Marie Kondo. So if you've read the book or watched the show, and even if you haven't, I love the fact that she doesn't keep anything that doesn't spark joy. And I have been doing this with my clients for years, where you have to tap into what makes you come alive. And so you do it throughout your day and start small. Like, and focus on coming from a place of love and not fear, because most of the decisions we make come from fear. So from the first thing in the morning, like when you're making yourself coffee and you're drinking it and you're saying, I'm drinking this because I love myself and I love this coffee. And I'm eating this healthy breakfast, not because I want to lose weight, but because I love myself and I'm honoring my body. And so it shifts your consciousness throughout the day, and you start seeing, okay, what do I love? What's draining me? What's feeding me? And then you can start to do the work to really hone in on what you love. And I mean, I have a whole process for finding your purpose and your passion. I'm actually working with a 20-year-old woman to help her with that, because she was so stuck with what to focus on for her major. And so we're doing a whole process of taking her key stories in her life, like the pivotal moments, like I just shared before, one of mine. That's where your values come from, those pivotal moments, the highs and the lows of your life. And you start pulling out what are the common patterns and who did you become in those moments? And that is a way to sort of connect the dots and start to find out what's your next act.
Yeah. Well, and that, I mean, it makes so much sense. One, that somebody, again, of our age, of our vintage, should be in that role to give advice. I always have trouble taking advice from people much younger than me. On life, for one. It just does, how we have so much knowledge that we bring to the table, and women, of our generation, we don't give ourselves enough credit for what we know and what we, can still do. So I
Yeah.
think it's fabulous that you're focusing on that, and I want to just get that message out more and more, uh, because we have so much data that we can sift through. It actually should be easier to identify what we really want, or does it make it harder?
Well, I think we're pretty clear about what we don't want at this point, and we're clear about what we won't tolerate anymore. Most of us, some are still tolerating for a long time, but I think that what you say is right. And there are some really brilliant people who are younger than we are, but we have to start to take that negative bias out of our vocabulary. We tend to focus only on what's wrong, and our society does too. You're too old, you're too fat, you're not perfect, your hair is the wrong color. I mean, people walk around with this heavy weight, and it's often voices that someone else has told you. It's not the truth. And so part of what I just did a whole unit with Pfizer women in my new business. And one of the units, it was a lunch and learn series of 4 classes that I taught on how to communicate better and lead more effectively. And we talked about your inner critic. I mean, I gave them many ways to tame the inner critic, because if we don't get that inner critic out, we can't rise up to our highest self.
Yeah.
And then I have a whole exercise on how to access the higher self too. But these are tools. We can all access these tools to help us achieve what we want to achieve in this short lifetime that we have.
Yeah. Well, Sandy, we're already coming to the end of the segment. In closing this out, what is the bottom line on that topic?
It's never too late. You're never too old. Um, don't let other people's limitations or your own from the voices in your head limit you. Really tap into self-love and self-worth, because it's all possible. It's you have to get the impossible out of the possible.
Yeah. Well, we will link obviously to all of your information, to our past segments, and we'll see you on our next episode, on our next segment of Our Second Act with Paige and Silka.
Great.
Thanks so much for watching. For more information on recreating your life after 50, please visit our website, secondact.tv. And if there's a topic that you'd like to see us cover in the future, we have a suggestion box on the upper right-hand corner of our homepage. Just drop us a line. We'd love to hear from you. See you next time. Bye-bye.